All right, folks, you are live with Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast hip hop. We're about to do this right here. Me and my man Dusty. It is Tuesday, y'all. It's about to go down like 4 flat tires and a broken elevator right here on all platforms. From the West Coast to the East Coast and everything between, folks. From Eve After Dark to concerts in the park. You're live with the Godfather of West Coast hip hop. Your boy, none other than Lonzo Williams. And in the dugout, waiting to come online right now, my man Dusty Visions. You know how we do it every Tuesday, y'all. Get some popcorn, smoke what you smoke. Let's get ready. Yo, what up, Dusty?
Yes, right. Yes.
The chat,
man, I'm doing pretty good, man. Hope everything is good with you, man.
Hey, you know
busy,
what?
Huh?
If it get any better, I'm gonna turn myself in. Shit, it's a setup. It's a goddamn setup.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
What's happening with you?
Love it. Well, I felt like last week we got a little. I'm good, man. I'm good. I feel like last week we got a little overwhelmed with the nigga verse. I had to that whole story and turn. So I think we're only nigga verse today. Today I want to focus a little bit more on your history in the game, and specifically I want to go back to album covers because last week that prompted a great call with Fila Al call that was some gold dropped in there. Well, I kind of want to do, if you don't mind. I know last week we talked about the turnoff. Let's talk about House Call. Do you remember the House Call?
Look at it right now.
Album cover off the top of your head.
Yes, sir.
I can tell you what it looks right now.
I'm looking at it. It's on the wall.
All right, talk to us. First of all, talk to us about House Call. Talk to us about making House Call.
You know, House Calls was an EP that we did when we got released from CBS. But we got released from CBS. CBS released a signed CIA, which is Ice Cube's group, and they also signed us collectively right behind that. And they both dumped our ass. They dumped both our asses right behind that together. And we didn't have the money to do a full album, so we decided to do an EP. Did an EP on CIA. That's when Stereo Crew changed their name from Stereo Crew to CIA. And then we did House Calls. And we'd had so much luck with the Dr. Dre, the doctor thing. You know, the doctor theme gives you all kind of things to play with, surgery, bionic, all kind of shit. So we just said, fuck it, let's go with another one. And that's how we came up with House Calls. Because it was all, it's about Dre. And I think that's why people think Dre was the leader of the group or he was the focus of the group. But it was actually because the doctor theme gives you so much to play with. You know, you got all these different angles you could go at. And, I told Daryl we had made the song called House Calls. Daryl Davis is the artist for all my stuff. He's the graphic artist for all the stuff that we did. And he made the ambulance and the House Calls. It was just he's just a dope ass artist, man. I was talking about him today. It's funny you should mention it. We're talking about him right now. I was talking about him today about how back in the day when he did the album covers, all the album covers were done by hand. Okay. And if you look at House Call, Surgery, CIA, Housefly, all of them, anything that was drawn was done by Daryl Davis. And like I said, most of his stuff, he's amazing, man. And I was at the Compton Museum, Art Museum today. I was talking to the brother Mark who runs the museum, and I was talking about all the artists out of Compton who haven't got any recognition. Daryl Davis stopped doing art and started driving a truck. Brother Chris Chatty Chapman, one of the baddest cats with an ink pen. He died a couple of years ago, but his shit is just phenomenal, man. Anyway, that was Daryl Davis was my man, and he just did such a great job with doing what he was doing. And like I said before, everything he did was freehand. And it wouldn't take him that long to do it either. That was amazing, man. The detail of what he did for us and Unknown and Ruthless was amazing.
Dude, this album cover is so amazing, man. I mean, it's pink, it's an ambulance. I'm just trying to give everybody an idea. So it's a cool type. I can't see what's going on inside, but it says House Calls, and then on the bottom of the ambulance it says Dr. Dre. How much did Daryl Davis charge for something like this?
$25, $50. Yeah, yeah.
Damn.
He did all my flyers. If you look at all my early flyers from Eve Up to Dark, that shit, man, was like $25. You know, all the flyers from Eve Up to Dark, the Curtains Blowout, the Drop the Bomb on Me flyers, Eve Up to Dark flyers, all the flyers. He did all the flyers. I was like his number one customer. I kept his ass busy. Okay. I kept his ass busy. In fact, his birthday is the same day as mine, man. That's why we always had a lot of love for each other. We both Geminis, so June 16th. So you know, it's just one of them things, man.
Okay. Yeah. Now, someone mentioned was the word ass in that song? Did it
Man,
have to be
and
cut
I,
out
I
at the
do.
end?
That's amazing you asked me that question because I'm sitting here and I think about what they get away with now versus what we had to go through just to say the word ass, just to insinuate ass was a fucking major crime, man. At the last part, Shakespeare said, "Oh, you left your driver's license here. Now I'm gonna kick your ass," right? But we had to cut out all we couldn't say the A, the S. We couldn't even hardly say the A. We had to kick. We're gonna kick your ass. That was all we could say. That was all we could say. Just the slightest hint of ass was enough to get us canceled on K Day. That's no bullshit. Now they get away with all kind of shit, man. Niggas,
Wow.
motherfucking bitches, hoes, whatever the case may be. So yeah, it was a different time for sure.
That's crazy because just 10 years later, Back That Ass Up became a
Yes, it was.
huge song. And it's ass in the title. It's
Dude,
not just in the song, it's in the
dude,
title.
things change so fast in hip hop, man. It just was, and that's probably why I have not be the attitude I have, but maybe sometimes I just damn y'all got away with shit. I mean, think about this from a hip hop, from an old school hip hop perspective. We couldn't cuss. Our equipment was heavy as shit. You know, we was like Roman soldiers trying to load a gig in, man. It was like building the pyramids or something. You know, heavy ass crates, heavy ass speakers, heavy ass amps. You can't cuss. You cuss, man. Regina Chetty dances. If the girls were slow dancing with the guys, they would let me. They'd snatch the records off the turntables, all kind of shit, man. It was a different time, dude. It was a different time, and it just amazes me how things have changed so much.
Yeah, man. Art Chavez wants to know, Lonzo, did Dre duet song during his time with World
Did he
Class
do what
Wrecking
now? He
Crew?
broke up a little bit.
It's okay. Art Chavez says, Lonzo, did Dre do the Mechanic Sweat song during his time
Yeah,
with World
that
Class
was
Wrecking
him.
Crew?
He did that with Unknown. It was kind of a side project he did. Yep.
What's the Mechanic Sweat
Mechanic
song?
Unknown was trying to do a instrumental type situation, and Dre came up with this beat, and they called it the Mechanic. And it was Unknown had X-Men and all these other no faced having artists, and the Mechanic was something else that he came up with to try and increase his catalog.
Okay.
Dope song. I mean, Dre never he didn't make a bad song. It just some songs caught on better than others. It's much easier. It was much easier back then to attach a song to a person than it was just to a name. You know, nobody thought about putting a helmet on and putting a person in that helmet and making him the mechanic. Okay, it was just a mechanic, and who the fuck is the mechanic? Where it come from? Nobody really. Although the song was good, it just didn't do what it could have done. He had another one called The Facade. The Facade was another group he had. Another great song, but it just didn't catch on like other ones did. Unknown DJ, Professor X, all that shit had people attached to it, so people were able to relate to it. It was a different time in hip hop.
Marlon wants to know, yo, did you have any connections or relationships with any DJs up here in the Bay, like Cameron Paul or Michael
No,
Erickson?
no, we were tied into KML pretty much. We worked directly with KML. Or no, KDIA and KMEL. KMEL, yeah, KDIA and KMEL. They were stations, they were like sister stations with K-Day. So whoever was a jock at the time, that's who we rolled with.
This is a question that gets thrown around often. I've heard 50-50. Rodney King wonder. Rodney King wants to know, was Eazy-E a crew?
Yeah. He rolled with shit. Kelly Park. Now, Again, was he a shooter hanging out the window shooting at people? No. You live in that neighborhood, okay? You live in that neighborhood, you got guilt by address, pretty much. I can't recall him having no beef like that. He pretty much went where he wanted to go. And straight out of Compton made it seem like he couldn't go to the doodles with it. Which I never had. I don't see him having that problem because he didn't carry himself like that. He didn't carry himself like he was some stomp down, can't wait to shoot a guy in the head kind of guy. So he just was a smooth dude. But he came from the side. Back then, where you came from, that's what you was.
There it is. Hey, the STEM Radio asked a question last week that we didn't get to. Hey, Lonzo, are you familiar with Caution Crew? That was Rodney O and Brother Marquise, who was later in 2 Live Crew.
I remember Caution Crew, but I don't remember a whole lot about them. They didn't really do a whole lot. They did 1 or 2 songs I can recall. I can't recall them blowing up, and maybe they did, but they didn't knock down no doors in my house.
Okay. No, that Fela Al conversation last week, just sparked back and listened to it. So I got a couple of questions for you from that particular interview that we played. Fela mentioned Don McMillan. Okay. Can you break down who
Don McMillan was a guy who owned McCullough Records. Don was probably the best and the worst thing that ever happened to West Coast hip hop. Okay. When he had McCullough, he had an open door policy, but he also had a no payment policy. Okay. He didn't think people deserved their money. And fortunately for me, Unknown, and a few other people, we knew how to get money with our records. I mean, like I said, my last job was working for a record distributor, so I knew all the record stores. And if I had something that would sell, I knew how to sell it. Everybody wasn't that lucky. And those who did know how to sell it, they usually came to me to help me to get them to sell it. And, Don used to work at Cadet Records over off of Slauson. He was the foreman, and when Cadet went out of business, he bought all the pressing equipment and opened up McCullough Records. And Duffy Hooks, another name who doesn't get a lot of credit in West Coast hip hop, went to him and talked him into doing this distribution thing. Because Duffy knew the distribution, Don had the pressing, and we started working with Don.
Okay. I like these questions. Keep them coming, everybody. Keep them coming. I'm copying and pasting everything. We're going to get to all of them. Love this hip-hop stuff. The Fela Al interview or conversation also brought up Johnny J. Can you break down Johnny J, how important he was to hip-hop, and any good Johnny J stories that you remember?
Johnny J was a talented cat. He was probably one of the first Latinos I ever worked with in hip-hop. I knew Kid Frost. Me and Kid Frost had worked together. We did shows together, and I see he's having his heart surgery today. Having his heart something or another. But after
heart surgery,
after Kid Frost, Johnny J was a few years later, but I met Johnny J. I'm sorry, and also my boy Crazy D. But Johnny J was a producer. He wasn't just a rapper. He was a producer, and he was a part of Fela Al's team, and he produced a lot of stuff for Tupac that I didn't know about till later on. He produced a lot of stuff for Tupac that All Eyes on Me album, if I'm mistaken. That
was Tupac's go-to. He was Tupac's go-to producer, apparently.
Yeah, some of the favorite songs that you heard, you may have thought Dre did them, but no. That was Tupac. That was Johnny J. And I went to his funeral. Johnny J married a black girl, pretty black girl. He had black kids, lived out in Palmdale or Lancaster. And I was at his funeral. And when I saw his obituary, the first obituary I ever saw that looked like a magazine, because his wife said at the funeral that Johnny J never got his real deserts in life, so she put him on the cover of a magazine for his program for his repast. So it was, he was a very talented cat, man, very talented. Should have made a lot of money.
Anyone who doesn't know Jay's unfortunate ending to his life, he was in jail for a DUI, and he decided to take his own life in 2008, October, where allegedly he jumped off a
I don't believe that shit no more. I believe I don't believe that shit.
Sad ending.
I don't believe, really? Nobody believes that shit, man. Rumor had that he was being sweated by some groups inside the jail working with the Magates. and they was trying to get him to pay rent. He wouldn't pay him, and they allegedly uh, he was forced head first. Nobody don't do that shit, man. He been in jail for 6 weeks. He waited 2 weeks out, decided he going to do it. Oh, no, 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 no. He was on the way out, man. You know, he only had a couple 10 days left, and all of a sudden he decided to commit suicide. I don't think so. That don't sound right. It don't sound right. It never felt. It never felt.
You know, I know we never know what people are really,
Right.
really going through. Right. Yeah.
But you know, that was always the suspicion that he caught a little pressure in jail, and you know, some shady things happened afterwards. I'm not going to elaborate. I wasn't there, but you know, because his wife in the funeral said she had talked to him. He just swore off drinking the whole 9 yards and wasn't going back to jail. Blah blah blah. Everybody do that, but still, he had too much to look. He had too much to look forward to. Man, the dude had money. He wasn't broke. You know, he was not broke. You know, and I'm not saying that money makes you happy, but it damn sure give you a reason to get your ass out of jail.
Yeah, that sucks. What kind of guy was he? Was he laid back? Was he hyper? Was he friendly? Was
nah,
he
man, he just was a cool dude. He was just a regular cool essay dude, man. He sit back there and drink with Fela Al and us and shit. You know, Fela Al and them, they like them 8 balls and shit. And they would kick it. He'd come out the studio, hang out. In fact, if I ain't mistaken, when he did Candy, I think he did Candyman's demo for Knocking Boots. I still got that shit. Okay, I got the 2-inch. I got the 1-inch, the half-inch master from Knocking Boots. Yep, that's no shit.
Yeah. R.I.P. to Johnny J, man. You mentioned Crazy D. We've talked about him in the past. We might as well bring him up since you brought him up. For anyone who doesn't know who Crazy D is, I guess the best way I can explain it is if you look at N.W.A.'s first album, N.W.A. and the Posse, he's the Latino dude on the on the ground, you know, whatever, on it with the, I think he has a 40 ounce and like a gun or something. There's some gun necklace or something along those lines. But Crazy D, man, talk to us about
that.
Crazy
Motherfucker
D.
deserved every letter of his name. Crazy D. He wasn't no bullshit. This motherfucker carried a gun all the time, stayed fucking drunk, and if he liked you, motherfucker, whoever was fucking with you had a problem. If Crazy D liked you and somebody was messing with you, he would take the fade for you. Okay, he was. I mean, I remember one time we was in the studio back in the backyard, and somebody was doing something. Crazy D pulled his gun out and fired. Pow! Motherfucker, what are you doing? You know, I've talked to Crazy D in the last few months. Last time I talked to him, he was having some health issues, and he was really concerned about his future. I wanted to get him on the podcast. He said, "Man, I only do the podcast if I can come by the house, man. I want to come by the house and kick it with you. I don't want to do it remote." I'm like, "Dude, you sure?" Because he lives in Vegas. So you're welcome to come by the house, man. But he was really going through some things. He had some serious health issues for a while, man. I'm gonna reach out for him, but his number never stays the same. But dude, if anybody deserved the name Crazy D, was him. But nowadays, he's the most humble cat you ever want to meet, man. He got married and shit, stopped drinking, stopped carrying guns and shit. And he was. Last time I talked to him, he was a real estate. Let's call that appraiser, real estate appraiser. Yes, sir. So things change, man. Things definitely change.
Nice. That's going to be a bucket list item when we're able to get him on the show. Was he a rapper or was he just part of the entourage?
He was all the above.
What his role was? I know he was on a couple NWA songs where he played the Mexican
yeah,
dude in a couple NWA songs.
And he played. We did a song called Funky Chicken, and Dre did a song called Funky Chicken. And at the end of the thing, they talk about the chicken. He said, "Man, what about El Pollo Loco, man? That's a good chicken, man. That's good." And Shakespeare, get the fuck out of that Mexican chicken, man. It was funny as shit. It was funny as no, man. El Pollo Loco is good chicken, man. He was straight essay on this, man. That shit was hilarious. Record never came out, but it just was something we had put together back in the studio, and they were just fucking around one day, man. It was really an interesting project, put it that way.
Yeah. This may be a question for the man himself, but Jay Ferris wants to know, why does Unknown still
want to be unknown? Man, dude, if I can answer that,
Why does he still want to hide his face?
if I can answer that question, I probably would be a multi-millionaire. If I got a nickel for every person that asked me that question, dude, I don't know, man. I don't know. Unknown is probably the most private person I've ever met. Right now, if you waterboarded my ass, I can tell you where you live at. If you waterboarded me right now, like the CIA, I could not tell you where he lives at. If you put my nuts in an electric vice or some electric charge, I could not tell you what how he make his money. I don't know. He is the most private, secluded, reclusive person I've ever met. Um, he won't do interviews. He don't do. He was in my documentary, but we had to blank him out like he was in witness protection shit. You know, that's just his thing, man. And I remember one time I gave an interviewer his phone number. Man, he was pissed, like I gave it to his ex-wife or some shit, ex-girlfriend. Man, why don't we get my number? Dude, it's it's so. I don't care, and then what pissed me off with him sometime, he'll send people through the whole process. Let me see your podcast, send me an email, send me the questions. Then for no reason, no, I'm not going to do it. Hey, fuck you. That pisses me off. I've had people, I call people, hey man, I know they want to interview you. All right, tell them to send me the questions. They send them the questions. Give me the date, and all of a sudden he'll just for no reason just cancel. So don't know what it is, but that's just what he does, man.
Yeah, you're probably one of the only people with actual audio footage, face-wise, but Unknown has been on the show several times, so that's I think that's kind of cool that we're probably one of the only ones who have any Unknown, audio.
We used to do a podcast together. He stood on the other side of the room with a microphone, never came on camera. He talk his ass off, but he ain't gonna go on camera. I tease him. I said, man, you must be in the witness protection program. Some shit. Okay. Nigga, you must be in the witness protection. You didn't kill somebody or somebody you know some shit, and you scared to be on fake. Somebody find your ass after all this. Nigga, you in the witness protection for 40-something, almost 50 damn years. They probably ain't looking for your ass no more. Okay. They probably ain't looking for your ass no more. All right. Whatever it is you did, they think you did, it's probably over with by now. You're the only one fighting that battle.
That's funny, dude. Hey, Tone Loc is doing an interview on the Art of Dialogue this week. Shout out to the Art of Dialogue, always releasing good content over there. Did Tone Loc ever and you ever cross?
Hell yeah, I just saw Tone Loc at Layla's funeral a couple of weeks ago, a few months ago. Tone Loc is super cool.
Talk about Tone Loc, man. He has an interesting career because he went pop, and then he did in movies. He did Baby. He was on Ace Ventura.
Yeah, he was in Ace Ventura. He was on that movie with damn Robert De Niro and what was it called? When they robbed the bank, they all robbed the bank and everybody had to get away. Robert De Niro and my other boy, the two top Italian actors, in the movie together. They robbed the bank, and they had Heat. Thank you, Isaiah.
Heat. Yeah. I was just about to say it. Damn.
He was in Heat. That's right. He was in Heat. Played him and Ricky Harris. They played brothers or some shit. So yeah, man, he's had a unique career, and he's doing well, far as I can tell. I talked to him and his DJ. Damn, I'm having a fucking fart.
Go ahead, I'll look it up right now. Go ahead.
M.W.A. His DJ is M.W.A. M.W.A. walked up to me at Layla's funeral. I hadn't seen M.W.A. in years, and he looks just the same as he did. And I saw him the last time, which is about 30 years ago. Same slim, ain't gained no weight, no nothing. And I knew who he was, but I couldn't think of his name for a reason. But I mean, for some reason. But he hooked me up with Tone, and we all got pictures together at Layla's funeral. Man, it was a good reconnecting day. Unfortunately, at Layla's expense.
What kind of guy was Tone Loc? What kind of guy was
just
he?
Cool, man. Just super cool, dude. Back then, man, nobody was really tripping on banging and shit. Everybody was just kind of cool. Nobody knew what success tasted like. He had some moderate success. He had some success, and he just went from hanging out to gone. You know, he at Funky Cole Medina and this other record took him to another level, man. And you know, he just went from hanging out one day to blowing the fuck up. You know, and that was the whirlwind that a lot of people experienced back then because you could be a regular dude on a first of the month. By the end of the month, you the shit. Okay. You know, and wasn't nobody giving nobody success lessons back then. Okay. Wasn't no success lessons on how to make this hip hop thing work. You know, you riding a bike one day, next day you in private jets. You know, and it just was some serious shit. And people just didn't, you know, they would come through and they just doom. Next day you see them on MTV. Damn. Can't get to them no more. Now, the first time I seen Tone Loc in God knows how long, Tone used to be at the pad. He's come out the pad with only one I can't remember being here was the other brother. Damn. You know what I'm taking about?
Young MC.
Young MC. Okay. But Tone Loc, Young MC, Body and Soul were all on the same level. They was all on Delicious Vinyl. Okay. And Tone would come by the pad before he blew up and hang out in the studio like everybody else did. And then one day his shit was gone. Def Jeff, all these cats, they'd be here on a regular basis.
Damn. So I was about 9 at the time. So I kind of remember, you know, I remember hearing it on the radio, but how big was Funky Cole Medina at the time? And wow,
man,
it was like back to back.
Dude, that shit was unheard of, man. It was just, and as big as it was bigger with the white crowd than it was with the black crowd. You know, we played it, but white folks loved that song because he used that rock and roll shit behind it. He had them rock and roll riffs set him apart from everybody, and it just made his shit just go through the roof with no coming back. That's some classic shit, man. It'll never happen again, and it wasn't nobody else even came close to it until Ice Baby came out. You know, and then Hammer and he came out with his shit. So that was the tone. And it was all fun. It was those records had no barriers. You know what I'm saying? They didn't diss nobody. They were all about party songs. They were party songs. They didn't diss anybody. They would represent no hoods. They were just good, fun songs, man. That made people just, you know, want to, have fun. And that's what made it work. You know, and he got this rough ass voice. He had this rough ass voice that nobody ever heard before, and it just worked. It was a great time, man.
And you mentioned that he sampled that rock and roll was Van Halen for
Right.
Wild Things, which leads me to this. Yeah, which leads me to this question. I recently saw this week Diddy posted, or someone posted and Diddy corrected them, but apparently Diddy pays Sting, the singer Sting, $5,000 a day to this day, and for future whatever, for the song "I'll Be Missing You." Remember when he did that Biggie tribute back in '97?
Yeah. When that song came out,
dude, talk to me about sampling and all that. Go for
when
it.
that song came out, it came out so fucking fast. I knew he didn't get a clearance on it because it takes months to get a clearance, dude. It takes months to get a good clearance. And back then, the clearances were still. It was like a sample was, they really still hadn't got all the bugs worked out yet. He might have gotten better. He might have got a much better deal if he'd have just cleared the shit and, you know, did what he did. But when he didn't clear it, it's like, why am you stole from me? Why am I going to give you a discount for stealing from me? Okay. If you came up front, hey man, here's 10,000, 5,000, whatever the case may be for this sample. And I'm going to give you this amount of publishing. Well, you ain't got nothing. So it's like you get caught red-handed stealing from the bank. You ain't got there's no leverage. There's no leverage. So bam, so it is what it is, Doc. But I wish somebody would steal. Master P did me the same way with Turn Off the Lights. He did me the same way. He took Turn Off the Lights.
Tell us the story. Tell us the story.
He took Turn Off the Lights and turned it into Mr. Ice Cream Man. And when I found out about it, it was at almost 500,000 records. And I'm like, and if people call, I'm like, dude, why am I going to discount you for stealing from me? Okay. So if you look at Ice Cream Man, you'll see that I own the publishing and half the writers on that.
Ooh, the importance of ownership, right, Lonzo?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh
So,
man.
they try to negotiate. There's nothing to negotiate. Why would I give you a discount on theater? Now, if you'd came to me up front, I might not have thought this. I didn't think the song was all that great, but hey, I might have get you you might have got a much better deal if you had not have stole it.
Mm. Now you understood ownership at an early age. I mean, once again, you were going mowing through the weeds, this hip hop thing out.
Well,
Was that natural, or what made
no,
you think, no, I
I
gotta own
learned
my shit?
ownership from my daddy and Jeffy. My daddy, when I was renting speakers just as a DJ, he was like, you stupid, right? I said, what you mean? If you're gonna rent them every week, why don't you just buy them? Because you're gonna buy them, you're gonna pay for them, and still don't own them. And I like, that makes a lot of damn sense. He said it's gonna cost you a few more dollars, but once you get past that, all the money is yours. Because every time I do a gig, it would cost me $50 to do a gig, and it might cost me $50 to do a gig. And out of that $50, I was only charging $165, so I was only making $115. Okay, and if I did 2 gigs, it was worth my while. But in the beginning, like I said, I had to rent speakers and amps, and that was $50. And once I bought my first amp, that was like $300, and I cut it down to like $30. And I bought me a pair of speakers. Shit, now I'm not only am I getting all the money, I'm renting my shit to other people, and that's when the light went on. Shit, the more shit I own, the more shit I can rent out. I use it so much, and then when I got to the club business, I cut all that shit out. I didn't want to pick that shit up and carry it around. That shit was always heavy. I'm a lazy motherfucker, to be honest with you. When it comes to lifting shit, I'm a lazy son of a bitch. Okay. And when I got into a club at 22, because my back, I already hurt my back a couple times, and I could park this shit in the club and not have to move it again. Oh shit. I still do what I gotta do, but my main shit is right here. And no, that's all right. Y'all got this. By that time, I had a crew of youngsters around us picking up shit.
So going back to the music, it's really easy to take that upfront money, and a lot of cats. I'm sure you were balling out of control, back then. What makes people like you choose ownership over someone who's quick to say, man, just give me that whatever 100,000 and we'll call it even. When at the end of the day, you can make millions off your ownership.
I was taught by Swamp Dog about the record industry. We was making so much money independently, man. It almost didn't make no sense to give nobody, to be under that kind of scrutiny once you go to a major. Once you go to a major, your release dates are when they tell you are, when you tell you they are. When you were Crew Cut or McCullough, whenever you finish the record, shit, that motherfucker's finished. The release date is the day after that, okay? That's the release date is. Whenever I finish this motherfucker, that's the release date. Whether it be a Friday, a weekend, if I finish that motherfucker on Friday and get all the parts back, Thursday is the release date, okay? And when you go to a major, you got to stand in line. You got to stand, and that's what happened to World Class Wrecking Crew's first album. I mean, our CBS album. We got signed to CBS and Sony, and dude, we up there with Tina Marie and Luther Vandross and all these other cats, dude. And it's like, these niggas got to stand in line. We don't know y'all. And every time somebody start doing things, man, we got pushed back. But our album was finished in January, didn't come out to fucking July. Okay, July, 6 months. Everything we talked about was over with by the time the album came out, so it was already stale before it even came out. And that was at that time, hip hop was moving fast, man. Hip hop was moving fast. Hip hop at that time was being controlled by the independents, so the independents could drop a record whenever they wanted to. And Fat Boy, and that's when you had a lot of your disc records. Okay, when you had a disc record, you got to go to the studio and you got 10 days to respond to this shit. Okay, and you could do that as an independent. You can't do that as a major. Majors don't move fast. Trying to get a major to move fast is like trying to get a ship to make a U-turn. It's gonna take a minute. Whereas with a rowboat, you just flip that motherfucker around. Okay, same thing.
Going back to Master P, what and listen, Evan, whenever that song came out, but what gives someone the balls to flat out take a song? Do you think Master P didn't care or he just didn't know?
Probably didn't know. If figured I was in California, he was in Louisiana. I wasn't going to hear it, and I never really heard the record on California. Okay, just somebody else. I was doing business with another company in Tennessee, and it was a big record in Tennessee, and they knew the record. They sold it. And Lonzo, you got this right here? No, I don't. Check this out. What? No shit. Oh man, go get my money. And that's basically what it was. I'm fighting with that shit right now because even though I got all the shit straight, in some situations, the shit has been rewritten in like in Canada and overseas. My name ain't on shit, so I got to go back and get all that shit straightened out. Oh yeah, they get slick with the shit. Oh yeah, just because you got this.
Wow, thank you, Isaiah.
I love Isaiah. Yeah, when soon as shit goes global, motherfuckers can put what they want to. If you don't catch the shit, nobody, because that's the part that the digital era is correcting that, because once you lock in with the codes on your product, now wherever it shows up at, because once those what you call them, tag codes, whatever it is, that's embedded into the song, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, whatever the case may be, once those codes are in the song, wherever it pops up at, you'll get credit for it. See, you couldn't do that with analog. Wherever analog was, it didn't make no difference because there was no codes attached to it. So you have to go now. I'm going through now. I have to go through all my shit and make sure all the codes are registered to me. And that's what Sound Exchange and MLC and a few other organizations do, to make sure that wherever you have, you get the proper credit for it. I had to hire a publishing manager to go through all my shit to make sure all my shit is correct. And they found so much incorrect shit, it's ridiculous. Oh yeah, it's a bunch of shit out there. I mean, shit overseas, like I said, overseas is holding money that's not been collected. Shit that's been supposed to be shown. People have collected money for me and they just ain't gave it to me. Some shit I had even that didn't know it was being played overseas. And overseas has what they call a black box, a black account. And if it don't get collected by a certain amount of time, they just disperse the shit. And Universal is notorious for claiming people's money that they ain't got no business claiming. Universal Music Group is notorious for claiming people's money that they had nothing to do with. But again, they're the big boys. And motherfucker tell me, prove that you didn't prove that you didn't do a deal with Universal. Motherfucker, fuck you. Prove I did. Make them prove I did. Okay? Where's the paperwork to say that I got to deal with you on anything? But they won't make Universal prove shit. They want the little guy to prove against Universal. Hey, get the fuck out of here with that shit. And that shit can be very expensive and very, very, very costly. And that's why most people don't do it. Yeah, but there are people out there who understand the game, and they'll do it on a contingency basis and take a percentage. And that's what I'm working with.
Damn. Isaiah has a good question. He says, why do artists sell their catalogs? Isn't it better to keep for your legacy and bloodline? What's the advantage that's so significant they sell it all?
Not necessarily, man. Sometimes I thought about the same thing. When you got as much money as a Dre does, or a Lil Wayne, or so many other cats, in most cases, you're better off selling the shit and buying real estate and leaving that to your folks, because the musical part can get very convoluted. And like I said, when Dre sold this shit for over $100 million, he don't need the money, but he can take the money, like I say, and use it in another instrument and make more money, because he won't make that in his lifetime off the catalog. Yes, his bloodline may do it, but he got so damn much money, his bloodline is straight. It's gonna be a lot of motherfuckers bleeding before they be broke again. Okay, it'll be a lot of people dying and bleeding before they be broke again. So you can probably make more money short term for a lot. In his circles, in their circles, I should say, their money people know they can make $100 million turn it into a $200 million, I don't know, in 10 years, as opposed to trying to take this music and make it work for itself and the people they sell it to, they're gonna make it work anyway. And in most cases, they may sell the catalog, they may not sell all the publishing. So they still riding in the car with the record. They may sell the masters, but not the publishing. They may sell the publishing, but not the masters. UPS, Motown. I think Barry Gordy sold the masters, but he didn't sell the publishing. So he still gets paid for that shit. You know, however the deal goes, you still can control. You still can have an input. Like I said, just because you sell the masters, don't the publishing is still very valuable. That's the one that people redo the songs and keep getting paid for. So you can sell all the Temptation masters. People can license that shit, still make money, and then every time somebody redoes a song, "I Wish It Would Rain," you still get paid for your publishing, and that's a whole nother master now. So it's the record game. If you don't understand it, once you get an idea how it really works, you'll realize record industry is like McDonald's in some ways. It's not really about the music; it's about the money the music makes. Do you know McDonald's is probably like the second largest landowner in America, only second to one other organization?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Satellite. They have satellites scoping out like new.
Huh? You broke up.
They have satellites scoping out new real estate.
Right
things.
now, you know who the number one landowner in the world is?
In the world. Ooh, let's see. In the world. Corporation.
You can call it that if you want to.
Okay. Damn. No, I don't know. I know McDonald's in America, but I don't know the world.
Vatican. The Vatican.
China. Oh.
Pope is paid.
Okay.
The Pope is paid. The Vatican, all them Catholic churches around the world are owned by the Vatican. McDonald's is only second land. McDonald's is the second largest landowner, only second to the Vatican. Only second to the Vatican.
Okay.
So, and the same thing when it comes to music. When you have a record deal, they hold your money for like 9 months, 6 to 9 months before you get your first check. They give you in advance. Your record comes out. They don't pay you for 6 to 9 months. While you think that money is sitting in a no interest bearing account? No, that money is being used and being pimped like a son of a bitch, and it's being flipped over 3 or 4 times. So by the time they get to give you your money, they're giving you your principal, but they made money on the interest, and then they only give you a part of it then. So they hold that money's being held and worked and utilized and invested for in various instruments around the globe. And then when you finally get all your money, they probably tripled the money that they owed you in the first place. That's why they don't pay you right away. Even today, man, when you records, there is no such thing as a return anymore. When in the record industry, in the old school record industry, used to be a thing called a return. A return is when somebody buys an album, they don't like it, and send it back. Okay? If a store buys a lot of albums and the album is whack and nobody wants it, the record industry has a 100% return policy. If I don't like it, come get this whack motherfucker. That's the attitude. This shit is whack. I don't want it. Come get it. And with that being said, the record in order to protect themselves, record companies would have a return hold, which could be sometimes as high as 40-50% of all sales will be held in reserve. Now, although that shit may be triple platinum and ain't coming back no time soon, they still held the money in fear of shit coming back. Once that shit goes to, even when it got to SoundScan, that was one of the big problems we had back in the day. When you got to SoundScan, you knew you sold 50,000 records in a week. You may have shipped 100,000, but you sold 50,000. Okay, but they won't pay you, but only 25,000. But then 50,000, 25 ain't coming back no way. But they still only pay you on 25.
Yeah. So Isaiah wants you to break it down, and shout out to him once again for donating. We really, really appreciate every
Always.
donation. He says, "What is the difference? What is the difference between selling the masters and selling publishing? Isn't it all the same?"
No. Masters are when I make a song, and if I write the song, if I write the song, I'm automatically the publisher. And when I make the song and I put it on a record, it turns into a master. When the master is usually controlled by the record company, the publishing is usually controlled by the writer of the music or the lyrics. Okay, so there's actually, and people say it's only two parts, but it's actually three parts. There's master use, publishing, and writers. Writers and publishing are equal. So whatever the publisher get, the writers the writer or writers split that up equally. So if the publisher gets a dime, half of that dime, a nickel, goes to the writers of the song. Okay, the publisher, the master use, he may get a dime, but if it's one record, one label, they get the whole dime. Okay, now if somebody takes that same song and re-records it, the publisher gets paid again, but the master don't get paid because that's an old master. The publisher gets paid. He gets paid as a publisher, but now you have a new master. Okay, so songs like "I Heard It Through the Grapevine." Okay, every Motown artist has recorded that song. Every Motown artist has recorded "I Heard It Through the Grapevine." Every last one of them. Okay, so every time it's recorded, it's a new master. But it's the same publisher and the same writer. So those songs still get paid. Writers and publishers, everybody that recorded that song gets paid for each person that's remade that song. But if that song was recorded on a different label, all of them may not be Motown. Most of them are, but Motown, that's how Motown pimped their catalog. They made sure everybody recorded those songs. So if somebody else outside the Motown family records a song, the publisher still gets paid. Motown don't get paid no more, except for what they get paid on what's recorded on their label, whereas the publisher would get paid for eternity. Publisher and the writer gets paid for eternity. I hope I cleared it up for you a little bit.
Makes a lot of sense. Now, let's take yourself back to when Turn Off the Lights came out. Turn Lights comes out. Talk to us what it was like to have a hit record on the top Billboard Top 100. Was vagina just falling out of the sky onto your lap? Be honest.
Nope. When Turn Off the Lights came off, I didn't have a group. I didn't have no group, man.
Oh,
I was by myself, dude. When Turn Off the Lights came out as a hit record, we split up. We was gone. Everybody was N.W.A. It was niggas with attitudes. I'm sitting there by myself at the pad, empty nest like a motherfucker. Ain't nobody coming through the house. My shit's all over the radio. I wake up every morning to a hit record. I got my phone ringing. Jerry's trying to get me gigs and shit. And I went through a slight state of depression, dude. I went through a slight state of depression because I didn't have a group. I got a hit record. I didn't know what the fuck to do. I ain't never been in this position before, man. And they were over there being niggas with attitudes. And people, this is the part people forget. But I'll never forget, okay? When they left me on a high, okay? I had a fucking hit record. They was going through struggles. And it's a person, I don't know who this person is watching these videos, but they've been fucking with me for the past 2 months about how I felt. Motherfucker, you don't know how I felt because you were not there. And basically what it was, dude, they leave me we break up in like November, December. December in record industry back then didn't mean shit. Okay. January is the new year. The crew was gone. They struggling trying to do their first project. Meanwhile, the world-class wrecking crew got a fucking hit record. The Negro National Anthem blowing up everywhere. Okay? I'm happy, but I'm also little despondent because I don't know how to deal with this shit. I can't do that song by myself. That's a 4-man group. That's a 4-man song. Jerry's calling me, trying to get me to book gigs. I'm selling records like a motherfucker. Shit, everything was popping for me. I'm doing interviews, all kind of shit. My shit is popping, but I ain't got no group. Okay? NWA had not jumped off yet. It took another 6-7 months before NWA jumped off. So by the time I came to my senses and decided to start doing shows, I grabbed Battle Cat, I grabbed Richie Rich and Mona Lisa. I started booking shows. But here's the part most motherfuckers who don't know because you weren't not there is I'm the headliner. They opening up for me. I'm the fucking headliner for all the shows. And NWA, Eazy-E, Just Ice, and Ice-T is opening up for me, World Class Wrecking Crew. Now, it's some awkward ass shit. It's like going to the prom with your ex-girlfriend, her new boyfriend. But, you know, I'm getting 10 grand a night. I'm finna go to the goddamn prom and ride this limousine. Okay? And it was just odd, man. It was just really fucked up. So for people to tell me how I felt, dude, in one way I felt vindicated. I felt vindicated because, yeah, y'all left, but I got a hit record, motherfucker. Your shit's getting run over in the streets. Ain't nobody checking for y'all. When we first started going on tour together, man, wasn't nobody checking for them, dude. It wasn't that kind of party. Everybody wants to talk about the success and not the struggle of what everybody had to go through because you were not there. So you cannot take the successful part. And when the Wrecking Crew was here, NWA is here, and at some point in time, the shit changed, okay? I'm not mad because no matter how big a record is, you always have a declining part. But in the meantime, it's real hard to tell the person who went through the shit what he went through. And I'm like, dude, how the fuck are you gonna tell me what I went through? Unless you a fucking psychiatrist or sitting next to me, you know, I didn't know what I was going through. So I was very happy that I can go on stage and wasn't nobody throwing nothing at me. I had girls, everything was normal for me. They was going through the shit, not me. Okay. And by the time we got through with the run, because what they did not understand, what Jerry didn't understand was there was a difference between Wrecking Crew, Ice-T, Just Ice, N.W.A, and Eazy-E. There's a difference. I'm the only non-gangster act on a fucking gangster tour. And after the shows, I'm used to having an after party in the room, and instead, these niggas out there in the parking lot fighting. This ain't what the fuck I do. Okay, this ain't what I do. So I came off the tour because it wasn't my kind of show, man. Because I ain't never had to worry about no security. My biggest problem was keeping girls out the hotel, not keeping niggas trying to keep niggas out. They had, man, true story. In Carson Mall, which is now Delamo Pavilion, right there on Carson, they used to have a store called HQ. HQ was like a sporting goods store. They sold guns in HQ. Anytime we went to go on tour, we would go to HQ, buy some new socks, new shoes, whatever we're going to do. I'm walking through the mall. I see Easy, and these niggas is looking at guns and shit, man. The fuck? I mean, where y'all going, man? We going on tour. What tour you guys going on? Same one you going on. Nigga, I'm going to Mississippi, Louisiana. You niggas like y'all going to goddamn Vietnam or some shit, okay? This is no bullshit. They buying guns and shit, shotguns, and nigga, huh? I ain't never had to worry about no shit like that. Never. Never did I worry about no shit like that. Man, we're talking about the 80s. They wasn't checking baggage the way they are right now, dude. They're not checking baggage the same way they are right now. Okay? And because I never had to worry about that shit, because I was always on the Pretty Boy tour with Loose Ends, More Standing Time, shit like that, Midnight Star. We was on the Jerry Curl tour, okay? We just out there having a good time and trying to keep sequins from falling off niggas' clothes. All right, so there was a different vibe. Now all of a sudden, it's the Niggaverse tour. Oh, hell no. I tell Jerry, don't book me that shit no more, man. Book me with some R&B groups, man. Don't do that to me. You know, and that was the difference, dude. And that's the part that people don't understand when Wrecking Crew when me and Dre and Yellow split, Wrecking Crew was on a high. They were on a high. They were not. The NWA had not jumped there. See, Dolores Tucker was fucking with them. They was going through shit with Al Gore's old lady, Tipper Gore was fucking with them. I didn't have that fucking problem. My name didn't come out the president's fucking mouth. It was a big difference, man. It made a big fucking difference. So at one point in time, I was kind of happy. Like, you niggas have a fucking
good looking out. He says, all love, champ. Keep shining.
Much love, Compton Manny. That's my dude, man. Showtime. What's up, Showtime? Yeah, Doc. So, for me, I never had.
Man,
it took a minute for me to. I never regretted. I regretted the fact that I had to go on tour with some cats that I didn't know, but I didn't regret the shit they had to go through to become famous. That didn't bother me at all. I never wanted to go through that kind of shit, man.
Nice way to wrap it up, man. I love these hip hop stories, dude. From a hip hop nerd's perspective, this is awesome. These are my favorite shows. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. And once again, before we even head out, I'm gonna ask everybody, if you haven't hit the like button, please hit it before you smash out. And if this is your first time checking out the channel and you like what you heard, hit that subscribe button. There's more to come. This is the godfather of West Coast hip hop here, and he has so many good stories. And also Thursday and or Friday, depending on the week, he also does a show with Dr. Dre, the Dr. Dre from Yo MTV Raps. You get an East Coast perspective, a West Coast perspective, and sometimes they clash, and it's just a great.
Most of the time we clash.
I would say most of the time. Yeah, it's definitely the odd couple of it. It's a great show, man. But anything else, man? Any last words?
Yeah, man. If you guys have not done it yet, download the Compton Entertainment Chamber app. If you live around Compton, stay abreast of what's going on in the CPT. Also, if you're in the LA area, April 28th, I'm doing a screening of the documentary Compton Love, The Eve After Dark, from Compton to the Super Bowl. It's going down to Barbara Morrison Center, right there at Leimert Park, 8 o'clock on a Friday. Admission is $15. Also, the documentary Compton Love was accepted to the Rome Film Festival. So that's a major achievement right now. Rome Film Festival has two different levels. There's an online level, and then there's an in-person, in theater level. We made the preliminary level of online, and we'll be notified if we make it to the second leg. And if it is, I might be doing a show live from Rome. Okay, because I'm going to goddamn Rome. If they say y'all made it, arrivederci. Here I come. I got a passport and I got a credit card with. Ready to go to Rome. Shit. So yeah, that's real talk. First class.
Nice, man. Nice. Big things to come, dude. Always a pleasure, man. I'll see you next Tuesday, huh?
Much love, Doc. Much love, chat room. Thank you for everybody donating. Dusty, always a pleasure, baby. This is how we do it every Tuesday. Your boy, the godfather of West Coast hip hop, right here with my man Dusty Vision. And we'll see you on Thursday with me and Dr. Dre. Peace.